Welcome to the Cinema 9 podcast. Travis Roy, Eric Brancho, Michael Govier. We are live. For our lives, we are live, but you're seeing this recorded or you're hearing this recorded later on. I want to thank you for being a part of things at Cinema 9, cinema9pod@gmail.com, 5-star reviews, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And today's movie of focus, which we do every week, our Does It Hold Up segment, which is our main thing, about, 20 minutes in now. It used to be 30, 35 minutes, sometimes 45, but now it's a little shorter, a little more brevity. And that movie will be Sin City, as selected by you, Travis Roy. Are you excited to talk about this film?
So very excited to talk about this film. It's been on my radar for a long time for the show.
Yeah, I got a lot to say. I can't wait to talk about Sin City. Eric Branstrom, this is your last show. You're going to be out of town next week. Are you excited to hit the high road?
I'm going to be in Michigan's beautiful Upper Peninsula for my yearly rest and relaxation. Gorgeous.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Are you going to be in Brighton again like you were last week? An hour or less away from me?
What? Oh, wow. I didn't know this. This is breaking news.
I got to stop hitting that location button on Facebook.
Oh, that's okay. You see me on the screen every week.
I didn't know that. That's funny. Wow. Hey, way to sneak in. Hey, obligations. I understand.
Familial obligations. I'm aware.
Well, you were in Ohio though, Travis. So maybe you weren't even around.
I was at the time, but yeah, I was in Ohio for the No Effects show. Shout out to friend of the show and friend of ours and mine, Aaron Worley, and Steve Guile,
Judd
and
Bud.
Jason Willico.
Damn.
What a great time.
Crew.
Yep, the final tour of No Effects. It was fucking great.
You mean farewell
Bullshit,
tour.
but yeah.
When they say farewell, that means they'll be back. Final,
It means,
final.
yeah, I expect live shows, maybe not tours in the future, but they insist. I'm like, yeah, okay. We'll see.
I don't know why I believe him a little bit, but actually that was my gut to kind of believe it a little bit because they're not Motley Crue or Kiss or some bullshit like that. But
And they're pushing 60, so, I mean, it makes sense. They want to hang up
got a
the
bum
guitars.
ticker, and you're pushing 60.
And you got a bum ticker.
Hardigan, you got to.
How many times did Rodriguez redo that until he was like, fucking forget it. All right, let's just move on.
Because you are pushing 60 and you have a bum ticker.
Good God, terrible.
Anyway.
Are you reading this off the page?
Did you? Okay, so they played 5 albums, huh?
They didn't. Well, yeah, they played 5 albums and a bunch of other stuff. It was intense. They played 2 hours, 2 nights in a row, and then Bouncing Souls and Strung Out and Less Than Jake and Descendants and Circle Jerks and a bunch of other bands opened up.
Bouncing Souls, that's fun. Less Than Jake, less, and then it gets less and less. Descendants, yeah, I get less interested.
I was there for No Effects. I mean, you get it down to it. I was there for No Effects, and my friends were the main draw, and then it was a very great weekend.
How intense was Steve for the decline?
We lost touch during the decline. He went to
There
go
we
get
go.
a
That says
beer
it
or
all.
something. We got separated about halfway through. I think Moron Brothers.
I assume Steve had a personal experience for that one. I would expect.
How late were you up until you're like, man, I got to get to bed? This is getting, because I was up till like 3 filming my movie last week, and I felt like I was being tortured like in Marathon Man. Like, it did not seem right.
I was first in bed both nights, midnight. No surprise there.
Oh, we've seen this trend already at the feast. There's people, yeah, it's like, all right, it's been a great day.
It's over. It's
In bed first, awake first. That's my story.
Did you bring your robe, though, like the feast?
I did not bring my robe. I did have my dogs, though, which is nice.
Oh, that's cool. Pro Doghouse. That's
Yeah. And now I'm at my Nana's. I'm filming this from my Nana's because I'm hanging out with family now. We did the punk rock weekend. Now I'm doing the family week.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Rock weekend. All right. Well, there was children there too, right?
Technically, there's like 16 and 17. The 17-year-old is graduated from high school. And I swear, Jason's son, the 17-year-old, knew. I mean, the kid listens to Bigwig. He listens to Pulley. He knew more about 90s punk rock than probably the 3 of us or the 4 of us put together.
Wow.
It was wild. Yeah. It was cool.
Huh. Interesting stuff. All right. Well, I'm glad you had a good time, and I'm glad it was fun.
Thanks.
That's fun. Let's talk movies. That's fun. You want to share with us? Did you watch a movie together at the house? Did you wake up in the morning like, let's put on this movie?
We did not. There was no movies. Just beers and chats.
No movies. Wow.
Nope. It was, pretty busy weekend.
Oh, okay. No movies at all then?
Well, I watched movies with my family the last couple of days. I have stuff to report on. Are we getting into it?
That is what we're doing.
Let's do it. I watched 3 movies with my mom and my stepdad, which typically means going to TCM so we can find some stuff we can all agree on. So I'm always happy to kind of dig into some older stuff, such as the 1936 film Sabotage from Hitchcock. I think it's called in America like A Woman Alone or something like that. But that was fun. It's during the Hays Code era, and it very much is a British film, so it doesn't pay attention to any of those kinds of silly laws, and so it takes you to some weird places. I checked out. You ever heard of that movie?
Excuse me?
That's literally the name of this movie. It's PHFFFT from 1954. It's Jack Lemmon's second film. Him and Judy Holliday and Kim Novak. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And then lastly, I watched from 1986. You guys have both sung highly the praises of Hoosiers. I finally checked out Hoosiers.
God, yes.
Never seen it before. I thought it was good. I thought it was funny because when it ended, me and my mom kind of looked at each other and we both like had the same complaint, which is weird about the editing. We were like, "What's up with the editing in this movie?" Like it was jumbled. It was like rushed. I don't know. The editing was not great in that movie, but the performances were, and the overall vibe of the film was good. It was obviously like a good, maybe not great movie in my opinion, but it was very good. Dennis Hopper was fantastic. Gene Hackman was great. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
A solid film, a solid time with questionable editing. What can you do? I never heard that complaint before, but it's funny you both had that one.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It is odd.
What about you, Eric?
Eric Brandstrom.
Yeah. Curb. Nonstop at my house.
Boom.
It's all Curb. I'm almost done. I want to wrap this up because from what I understand, like all 5 seasons of Miami Vice are on Tubi. I've never seen this show, and I want to see what this is all about. So I'm going to be reporting next week.
Michael Mann.
Good luck.
He was,
Ever seen this show? Like the guest stars are out of sight. Like everybody was on this show.
When I was 8, I saw it when I was 8. I used to like take tape, like Scotch tape, and put it over my mustache area and color it in black and pretend like I was Tubbs.
Tubbies, submarine, bottle
Tubbs.
Tubbies always overrated. Tubbies is trash, by the way.
I prefer
Not
Tubbies.
good.
I'll take Tubbies over almost any other sub shop. Absolutely. Tubbies is great.
Blimpie? I miss Blimpie.
Blimpie is superior to Tubbies. I'll give you that.
That didn't last.
Sub talk.
Talking
You know
subs.
what? I'm gonna give credit where credit's due, and I'm gonna backtrack on my constant and multiple bashing of and I cannot believe it, man. I was just as surprised as anyone last night when I watched Toy Story 4. Like,
Yeah.
I bashed the fuck out of this
We both
for
did.
its seeming purposelessness. I was laughing nonstop. Like, it took many years for me to get over the fact that it did not need to exist. And that feeling's gone now, and I could just sit back and kind of enjoy what was going on. It's fun. I like it, man. I'm back, and I'm excited for part 5. If they're going to keep them going, which is a cash cow, it's a huge IP. So, I don't know.
Crisis.
I apologize to
Pixar.
the team.
I had nicer things to say upon my revisitation. I'm still not happy with Woody's arc, but it's not a terrible movie by any stretch.
Never seen 2, 3, or 4, so I got nothing to say. That's it. I'm still stuck in 1995 when we watched it.
Michael.
You blew it.
Yeah, I think that's it, man. I'm gearing up for Tubbs. Maybe I'll bust out the Scotch tape and send you guys a picture.
Please do.
Well, I watched the Arnold documentary. I couldn't help myself. I was actually excited to watch it. I was really
how was it?
because I think he's been grabbed by a lot of different sects, SECTs of society, as like a bastion of manliness. But also, there's a lot more going on there. It's just not that. It never has been. He's an interesting guy. Not perfect, of course, because he's a fucking human being. But I really enjoyed it. It's 3 parts. It's part 1, the athlete; part 2, the actor; part 3, the politician. So he just breaks it up like that, and I like that. It's a smart way to do it.
Yeah,
And it's just, he's very honest too. It's not all about. It's not one of these docs where people are, look at what I do with my life, and it's all from a perspective of one person. It covers everything, and I appreciate that. I have more respect for him today. I do, and especially his governorship is very interesting now, especially where we are 12 years later after he left office. what he did there in California is pretty cool. So, and it makes me kind of long for, boy, I'd be thrilled if the federal government was like that, but it's not, in case you're not aware. So
I love a California Republican. It's better than a West Virginia Democrat.
I agree. But it was fun. It was fun to see. I wish there were some more tidbits about some of the movie stuff. It's interesting. I would check it out. There's a fun tidbit about not True Lies. Well, there is True Lies tidbits, but when Last Action Hero came out, he talks about that. It's good stuff. I'd recommend that part of it.
Definitely gonna check it out.
So, check it out. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Talk about the Arnold thing, just make sure. Yeah, I did want to mention the other movie I watched was Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal, 1990.
Oh, hell yeah.
I hadn't seen this. I had not seen it in a really long time. Steven Seagal movies were a huge part of my childhood. I'm not proud of it now, but it was like DiBiase loved Steven Seagal. And like he had my DiBiase was my twice removed stepdad, and he loved Steven Seagal. So he had all the movies on VHS. Above the Law, Hard to Kill, Marked for Death. I mean, these are violent ass movies, and especially Hard to Kill is just fucking ridiculous. I mean, I didn't know he was married to Kelly LeBrock. I remember she co-starred in it, but they were married at that time. And she basically said, I only did it because he was my husband, and it was a huge mistake. Hard to Kill is terrible. It's so terrible, and it's too bad because you got Donald Sadler? William Sadler.
Yeah.
In there as the bad guy.
Yeah.
But he's hardly in it. It's like,
do not overlook my butt.
It's so stupid. Such a dumb movie. Don't watch Hard to Kill.
Why are you ashamed? Those were fun movies. You don't have to be ashamed.
I'm not ashamed. I'm just I'm actually just reminding myself, like, hey, Steven Seagal movies were a huge part of our childhood. Me and my brothers, like, we all watch the shit out of them. So that's really all I'm saying. I got no shame about it. It's a piece of shit.
Can I ask what time of the day you watched it?
It was dark. It was 10:30 at night.
Oh, that seems like the ideal timing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe not enough booze.
I watched another terrible movie called Rules Don't Apply, which is...
Oh, God.
What happened to Alden Ehrenreich, who played Solo in a Solo Story? I haven't seen him lately. He
Cocaine disappeared. Bear.
So he's back. But I swear, okay, where has he been sitting? Like, it was like a 4-year period. I swear, I can't think of a movie he was in. I really can't.
Acting school?
It seemed like he was the next big thing. Like Spielberg threw him in. I know he was in the Coen Brothers movie, Hail Caesar, and Twirl, it were so simple, which is a hilarious scene.
Over it, twirl.
But yeah, there he was in Rules Don't Apply. This is a Warren Beatty movie that he was desperate to talk about or to make for decades about Howard Hughes.
Rules don't
but
apply.
It's fucking terrible. And it's got Lily
It's
Collins
that
in
bad?
it, who everybody loves, Phil Collins' daughter.
What went wrong, man? Beatty can't catch a break. After Town and Country, he was like, all right, never again. It's over. And he comes out with this, and it's over again. Lost $100 million.
You know what I think happened, Eric, is I think a lot of people just thought about The Aviator and how awesome that movie was.
Yeah,
it's like, dude,
yeah.
this is a piece of shit. I think that did happen a little bit because it was an inevitable comparison of the Howard Hughes movies. So. And Melvin and Howard, that's a good, I mean, there's a lot of decent Howard Hughes films.
Yeah.
So, anyways, don't watch it. It sucks. It's not even worth your time.
You got it.
Okay, now we covered that.
Why didn't the rules apply? Like, what was that title?
Oh,
He's rich?
Well, it was actually, no, it actually wasn't about him. It was about the girl. So, yeah, she's special because some guy Alden Ehrenreich.
Aaron Reich?
Thank you. Yeah, he wanted to fuck Lily Collins. Basically, he said that because he wanted to fuck Lily Collins' character. That's all. So,
Well,
rules
motivation.
don't apply to you because I want to fuck you. So there you go.
Okay.
It's problematic.
Yeah, strange. Well, it was a movie based in the late 50s, so it makes sense it might be problematic. All right. It's time to get into it now. Travis has selected Sin City. This was a huge deal when it came out. I have to imagine, Travis, as we get into it here, we always start with our original origin stories with the films. The first time we saw them, there's got to be a decent story here, right?
No, that's not particularly interesting. I just watched it in theaters a whole bunch of times. I mean, I was stoked to see it. Frank Miller, Robert Rodriguez, and I knew Quentin Tarantino was involved in that cast and, graphic novel that I'd never read. But yeah, I caught it in theaters and was blown away. And as I said last episode, I believe it's the movie I've seen most in theaters, around 6 times or so.
Wow.
Okay. Eric?
I know I definitely saw it with you at the Imagine Novi when that was a hot ticket back in the day. And we went back to your
You could drink a beer
your
there,
Christian.
dude.
Talked the shit out of it all night. Yeah, man, I read all those books in the late 90s, so I was pumped. Not so much for Rodriguez, because I think all of his movies are fucking terrible. But, you know, Frank Miller is Frank Miller. So, yeah, I was blown away. I watched it multiple times. Immediately bought that incredible 2-disc special edition DVD set when it came out.
Came with the comic.
We're going to talk about those special features in a little while. There's some doozies. But yeah, it was just over and over and over and over again. But it's been about 18 years.
Same.
Yeah, I wasn't into this. I remember the hubbaloo, the scuttlebutt, but I wasn't into it. I never saw it in the theater. I watched it about 5 years later, I think, for the first time on some random night. So I don't really have a special story to tell on it either. But I guess I don't know. I thought it was an interesting idea. I'm like, oh, it seems kind of cool, but I just wasn't feeling it. So I don't really know why. I don't have a good answer for that.
Did you not like the look of it turn you off?
I don't know. I don't know. I was 25, and I was like, you know, the
If it's
MCU
not
hadn't
horror,
started yet.
you'd at least be interested in it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, actually, I never saw 300 either. I'm like, fuck this movie. It just seems stupid
really?
to me. Yeah,
I saw
don't
that
know why.
really early before like the hype. You know,
Oh, you did?
I saw it when it first came out. And I was like, this is a game changer.
Wow. Did 300 come out before this or after? I thought it was after. I thought it was right after this, or maybe the same year, actually, if I had to look it up.
300
both-
was 2007. Now the Game
Six.
Changer
Yeah, it was a year later.
It was
a year
the
later.
Game Changer was for green screen. The movie was Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yes!
This was 2004, and I watched it in the theaters. I was like, this is fucking stupid. Looks like some asshole made it in his bedroom.
I've never seen it. I've never seen it. I'm assuming it's terrible.
Yeah, but it did this. You know, no sets, just in the studio. And fucking Rob Rodriguez shot this at his house. Basically, this entire movie, just shot it at his house.
Yeah.
No
yeah,
shit.
he did all the sound stuff and like his bonus guest house and whatever. That's wild. That is, and they totally let him do this too. That's pretty cool. Plus,
And then he
there's other
left
fun things.
they left the Directors Guild of America because they wouldn't let him have co-credit with Frank Miller. He's one of the few big-time
Amazing.
directors not in the guild.
That's right. And
wild.
Quentin Tarantino did a guest directing on this in the
One scene,
Clive Owen scene with Benicio when he's dead in the car.
talking in the car, I believe. Pez dispenser.
So funny, man. I could not stop laughing about Benicio del Toro's voice in this. And I was trying to think. By the way, I have to. Oh, go ahead. Say what you're going to say. And I'll say.
Is there enough fake noses in this movie?
No.
Nose budget.
We need,
I got a couple
what's the
things
nose
for you right off the
budget on
bat.
this thing?
All right, I'll save all these things, but I will tell you guys right up front. The thing I did want to mention is I ended up watching the version I hadn't seen, which is where it's split up. I thought I saw the movie as like it was
Yeah,
all
it's
it was
all
different
divided.
stories.
Yep.
But the way I saw it had credits for every story. I don't remember it being like that. It was like
It's
one
not
movie.
like that. Yeah, it's not
I
supposed to be
know.
like that.
This was the unrated like director's cut thing. It was totally different. I swear it's the movie I got. So I'm just saying it was the
So we
it was
watched
the-
different movies.
Well, no, because I've seen. Well, no, it's the same stuff. It's just presented differently. But I've also seen the way it was done previously, so I do remember that. And that's why I immediately
decade
said,
ago?
like, "Oh, this is strange," because I don't remember it being like this. And
Where-
there was a
where-
credit.
where'd
I'm
you-
like, I don't know.
Where were you
it was just
watching
the
it?
copy I had. It was the copy I've had forever. It was in my external hard drive for years. So
Oh, well,
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Because if anybody has seen this movie,
It's on Max.
is it an unrated direct? If it's not on Max, let me know if I'm crazy. Cinema9pod@gmail.com. If you've seen the where it's broken up with each story with the credits at the end, like a full credits, 5 minutes of credits, and then it starts over. Let me know if I'm crazy or not. All right. What's the score on this thing? IMDb rating. I assume it's going to be a big hit, but maybe not a classic. No.
I'm going to say 7.3.
Yeah, right in that area. I'll go a little lower. I'll go 7.2.
Yeah. 7.3 just sounds so right. But can I agree? Can we agree on this? Are we allowed
We've
to
done
do
it
that?
before. Why not?
Oh, I agree. I think it is a 7.3. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, shit.
What we got?
An 8.
Wow.
Way off.
How many votes we got here?
Almost 800,000. That's a lot.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a clear-cut classic, basically.
Now I'm nervous.
What? You're nervous to talk about
No, I'm
hyper-masculinity of the movie?
That's funny. Rotten Tomatoes, of course, not far off from what they're doing over at IMDb. But it is different, oddly enough. 76 from the critics. Mm-hmm. Then 78 from the audience. Not much different. A little lower.
Destin?
There should be a Destin.
Destin Thompson.
Destin Thompson.
Prime
Destin presents.
Prime time for his reviewing years.
Prime time Destin.
Pre-Obama.
How about Obama? Destin Thompson. No, don't see. How about Richard Corliss from Time Magazine? Mm-hmm. For all its astronomical body count, Sin City is brazenly, thrillingly alive. Wow, thanks, dude.
Thank you, Richard. It's alive.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Thank you for your sacrifice, Richard. Let's see. Empire Magazine's Kim Newman said, for the guys, it's Rodriguez's best film by far, and a treat for fans of good-looking girls in black and white, of classic film noir, and of imaginative ultra-violence.
Any actual reviews here? Or just descriptions of the film?
Yeah, well, it's for the guys who love to see, women in their outfits, and hyper-violence
in black and white.
Yeah, in black and white, and hyper-violence is fun.
I like that black and white pornography.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best stuff. I remember that flapper porn of the 20s. It was a big deal the first time I saw it. Man, I'm looking for Destin really hard. How about Richard Roper? That guy, that hack. Robert Rodriguez is one audaciously talented man. That's his comment. There you go. Anything about the movie here? Anybody? Come on, Destin, please save us. We really need you right now. If we ever needed Destin for this second, how about this? Yeah. Peter Travers, we could usually rely on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sin City is a hard, cold, relentless assault. It's also something Hollywood seems to have given up on, a bold, uncompromised vision.
Yeah, coming from 2005, I can definitely see that. Sure, yeah. I mean, if there's anything this movie was at that time, it was fresh. That's what brought everyone back to the theater. We'd never seen anything like it.
That hits it on the head right there. It was very unique at the time.
How about Kurt Loder? Kurt Loder of MTV.
All right. Old Kurt.
See that hair right now.
Yep. We got Louis Largett chiming in.
We got John Norris after this.
Matt Pinto.
Matt Pinto. Yeah. I like movie violence as much as the next person. Okay, Kurt.
I sense a butt coming. Yep.
But I like it to have more snap and tingle than this sense-deadening slop.
Travis, do you want your violence to have tingle?
Yeah.
I want it to have slap, but no tingle.
Snap, crackle, pop? No pop? Well, there's a ton of reviews for this one. And there it is. I finally found him. Okay, yes.
Destin? All right.
Yeah,
what's he got to say?
Bring it.
Destin Thompson, on March 31st, 2005, said this. Mm-hmm. Rodriguez and company have so faithfully captured Miller's essence. There's something beautiful about the whole thing. It's an act of inspired reverence.
It always seems wild to me that people can make a movie and take a graphic novel and be like, look, all of our screenshots are already all planned out. We got it all mapped out already. It's gonna make it look exactly like this.
Yeah, right.
Which it looks like they did.
Do you know what a motion comic is?
It's on the interwebs.
Yeah, there's a lot of these on YouTube, where people take comics and they'll go through the comic book as if they're it's like a storybook time. They're reading it to you, but they'll put music in there and voices, and it can be a pretty fun experience. It's pretty much what we're dealing with here. I give Rodriguez a lot of credit for a shitload of credit for bringing Frank Miller on as co-director, because every shot is basically his panels. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
He made the film in print form. in 1991. Essentially, so bringing him on was the right thing to do. And what it does is it reminds me of this argument about the live-action Disney films and why they infuriate me so much is they are basically just, I mean, they're just redoing this beautiful work that was already done frame by frame by these animators and just refusing to laud them enough, in my opinion.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I don't know. I don't have an experience with the source material. I never read it, so I just assumed it was very faithful because everybody else said it was, and the way it was done was very unique. And that Frank Miller was so involved, I assumed, because one of the things that he didn't want to do it is he didn't think it could be effectively done in this visual medium, but apparently it was.
And there's many, many shots that you look at and you're like, oh, I even if I haven't read that particular comic, 'cause I haven't read all of them by a long shot, but there's many shots you look at, you're like, that's definitely a panel. That's a panel. That's a panel.
Yeah, when Jack takes the pistol thing, or like freeze frames it, or the other guy gets the bullet in the head. Is that what it is? That was
it's like
those are ones where I thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Or Hardigan like walking down an alley at one point. I'm like, yep, there's a comic book scene right there.
Yeah. So Michael Madsen didn't belong in this film.
Oh, because he does a terrible job.
Yeah, it's horrible. He didn't
Worst
belong.
acting.
I mean, why? The only reason he got in there is because he's like, apparently, according to the IMDb trivia, hey, Bob Rodriguez, why aren't I cast in your movie yet? Well, hey, just so happens we got one spot left for you, Mike.
Do I have to read the script or prepare in any type?
No.
I'm gonna totally half-ass it.
I'm gonna do that.
You got a bum ticker.
If this is what did you call this, Travis? Hyper masculinity, the movie? Is that what you said?
Hyper masculinity, the movie. That's what this is.
Okay. I also call this narrator the movie, obviously.
Green screen the movie.
Green screen the movie.
All
also, slow down the movie. There's a constant reference to slow down. You're going too fast. It happens at least 3 times in all the different stories. I'm like, okay, this is like a theme, which I thought was odd because. Oh, there are many themes. That's true. Also, Pecker the movie. The word pecker is used in this multiple times, and I was just curious if we're fans of the word pecker because I never use that word, and maybe I should.
Nut damage, the movie. We could call it that. There's definitely there's a lot of repeated stuff like how Dwight and Hardigan in particular are both wanting to prove themselves as like having worth to certain people. Marv and Dwight are both like have mental health issues and they're like compelled to murder, but they're trying to like channel it in a Dexter like kind of good way. There's a lot of recurring themes between like not every story has the same theme, but like usually 2 of them will.
Yeah, and Josh Hartnett's in this movie. Remember him?
Yeah. Convincing.
Yeah.
No.
Convincing as a hitman?
No. I do like him. I've always liked him as an actor. I've never found him very compelling as this character. He's too young and soft-spoken and just like, I don't buy that he's a hitman, but that's okay.
I only found it compelling in the Virgin Suicides when he played Trip Fontaine. Yeah, that's all I got.
So the story is Rodriguez just went out and filmed that first segment, right? Without even getting the permission to be able to take this on as a feature film backed by a studio, just to see if it would work. I like both of those bookends quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too.
Mostly because they're just like brutal. Something I'd never really seen. I'd never seen a story about someone who orders a hit on themselves in a movie like ever. Whereas everything else in the movie I've seen 5 million times, even in 2005. So I like those bookends.
Oh, she ordered it herself. I didn't realize that. I'm a moron. But I still like it. Either. I like it even more now. So.
Yeah, that opening sequence is like a perfect opener for the film because it really lets you know that you're going to have women in distress. You're going to have men that are, for the large part, like, so the few men in here that are good are like they're flawed but good, I guess. And then every other man in this movie is just pure dripping evil. So that's a good setup for that.
Yeah, I love Marv of the 3 main dudes, I guess, from each story.
Me too.
I just do. Because I love Mickey Rourke. I've always liked Mickey Rourke. I know he could be difficult to work with, but he puts himself into stuff, and I've always appreciated that and respected that about Mickey Rourke. And this Marv character is like, he's all fucked up, but he's also a badass, and he's not lying to himself about anything while it seems like, maybe Dwight and Hardigan are trying to fool themselves a little bit. Marv's just like, this is fucked. Everything's fucked. Life is a burden, and free me of this pain, you pansies. I love it.
And he's so vulnerable. Like, for being such a dumb movie, for lack of a better word, like, I do tear up every single time he meets Wendy at the end right before he's about to die. It's so touching, and it's a great testament to Mickey Rourke and what he does. I mean, this is a classically trained Strasbourg actor that doesn't nearly get enough credit, and he had been missing in action forever in 2005, before The Wrestler. But he has these little moments where he's showing this vulnerability. Like, he doesn't, like, it'd be so easy for an actor to be like, oh, I can't even get a woman to look at me because of the way I look. But when he plays it, he kind of chuckles to himself. Like, he's resolute about all of this stuff. It's a very complex character, and it's all internal.
Yeah, I was almost going to say, oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, if you had a point on that, because I'll say something else. So if you have a point
I was just going to add on about Marv and that whole sequence being my favorite sequence in the movie, and that he is. That was pretty much it. I just wanted to say that's my favorite of the four different stories. What were you going to say?
It's obvious. Well, I was almost going to say that this may have been the best cast movie ever, because I think about it all around. There's one person that's very obviously shouldn't be in this movie to me. Maybe you guys already know who that is. But like Elijah Wood, fucking perfect. Nick Stahl, Yellow Bastard, perfect. Marv, perfect with Mickey Rourke. Even Bruce Willis, this might be, I know we talked about, what was the movie we talked about, Travis? Didn't you say it was like, maybe it was the best performance of his career?
12 Monkeys.
Yeah. I think this could be in the running. He's really good in this. I'm not kidding. That was my response. That's how I felt about it. I really did. I thought it was really well done in his part.
I'm with you. If I was making a list of the 5 best Willis performances, I would definitely include this one.
If I was going to make a list of the dumbest, most shittily written Bruce Willis characters, this would absolutely be at the top of it. I could not believe the plot holes and ridiculousness in this character arc, like, period.
Well,
I could not believe
I think we're talking about two different things, though, aren't we? I'm talking about what his performance is versus the written character.
Sure,
I think that's two different things.
He does his job.
Okay. Well, I don't need to talk you into it. Me and Travis agree. That's enough for me. But then I look at fucking Jessica Alba. I'm like, why are you in this movie? Why? And if you're going to be, I'm sorry, this is a big deal for me, and I don't care what anyone says. If you're going to be a stripper in a movie and it's like key to your essence, you can't even like get down to lingerie. Fuck off. Get out of here. I don't need you to be nude. But the fact that you're such an anti-nudist person on screen, if that's your thing, which it is, that's like her thing. You can look it up, Google it. That's fine. But why are you in this movie? This is not that movie. You don't belong here.
She looks a lot like the Nancy 11-year-old, age 11.
Yeah,
she
does. I thought that was really good casting between the two of them at the very least. And I also thought that she, it's awkward, the huge age gap between the two of them. But I thought that she sold it. I thought she sold it pretty well.
She sold the grooming aspects of this film that are hugely problematic.
He's not grooming her. He can't even write her back.
It's tough. Yeah, he avoids it, but like when he says, I love you too, he loves her so much. It's fucked up, but I think it's an honest assessment of humanity and how difficult that shit could be when they shared an incredibly traumatic experience. It's complicated, man.
The performance is unacceptable. Like, this seems like a sweet person and a beautiful woman, but every line is just off. Like, you're not selling me on like that your car's a heap or that like this or you're just not selling these film noir lines.
She doesn't belong in this world, man. I know Nancy's supposed to be like a really innocent person too, so that makes sense. I just don't think that Jessica Alba was the right call here. That's the only problem I have with the casting. Otherwise, it's like almost perfect casting. It really is for me.
Best casting, maybe favorite casting. Nicky Cat is the swastika head guy. Hey, guys, so you go to the hospital, maybe?
It's so funny. I wrote that down. Funny. I did. I'm like, oh my God, Nicky Cat steals the scene there.
Eric didn't like that either.
All right. Swastika on him. By the way,
I think it's
does
funny
Miho
that-
throw a swastika star thing, by the way? Was that a swastika
Right? She
thing?
has a swastika throwing star, and then she shoots him through the swastika in his head. So I'm getting mixed messages
yeah.
about how she feels about Nazism.
Me too. Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, Nick Stahl is awesome as a yellow bastard. I just want to say that again. Nick Stahl could play a fucking scumbag to the max. I've seen him do it in Bully. I've seen him do it here. He's really good in that role. And also one of the best lines of the whole movie. Do it or I'll call my dad. It's so funny. I could not stop laughing while he's trying to set up the final murder of Nancy.
Yeah.
I could not stop laughing. It's so
Stahl
funny.
as Hunter Biden. Like, I got a question. Like, if you get penile reconstructive surgery, does that turn you into Quark from Star Trek Deep Space Nine? Like, what the
In
fuck is
Basin
his
City,
face?
it does. In Basin
That's
City,
right.
it does.
Yeah, anything's possible if you have money. Didn't you know that? It doesn't matter how big of a scumbag you are. It's about power. And, of course, Powers Booth. Classic Powers Booth voice in this.
Yeah.
Perfect. Like, this is classic.
Demonized Booth.
How do two people agree on the name Powers? I don't know. We're thinking Powers or Josh. We're going with Powers.
Frank?
Maybe his mother came from like the Tyrone Powers family line. I don't know.
Oh.
That sounds right. Big Tyrone Powers fan.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
How about
Well, I'm just
Tyrone?
still
How about
annoyed. She shouldn't have
Powers?
been a stripper, and it really bothers me. I'll move on from it, but
understand.
boy, it's just so
I'm sorry.
stupid.
You wanted to see
Also,
that body.
and when you see someone like Carla Gugino, who is
Oh
a
my God.
goddess,
Oh my
I mean, I've never seen, she looks like a doll. It's
Oh my
almost
God.
like freaky. It's like this woman is beautiful, but she's also
incredible.
fucking raw. When you see those two set up like that, that's what showed me the difference, frankly, because Gugino crushed it in her role.
She's so awesome in it. I'm always bummed that she dies as early as she does. But on the other hand, I sure love the recurring, oh, that's a nice coat. That's a nice looking coat you got there.
Yeah.
I love
There's
that
a
part
coat.
of it. And I also love that,
Sorry.
well, no, parole officers cannot prescribe medication, but she's clearly not going, like, I don't think she's prescribing it. I think she's stealing it from her girlfriend or like,
Yeah,
giving
her
it to
girlfriend's a counselor.
Oh, okay.
That's
Right.
what I got from her.
So she's
a
a
therapist.
She colors outside the lines because there are no honest cops in this except for Hardigan and sort of her, and she makes the fatal mistake of trusting the police because all institutions in Sin City are broken, utterly broken.
See, that's the thing about Hardigan's part that I assume you guys didn't. This isn't in the movie where he's in bed for like ever, or is it? Like, like all these characters come to Hardigan when he's in bed after he's busted with Nancy, and they assume he's the one who's done it with when he originally arrests Rourke and has the showdown, the first one. There isn't a like 10-minute segment of where the camera is from Hardigan's point of view and all these people are at the bed. Like we're talking like 12 characters come in to like talk to him, right?
You watched a different movie, and
I watched this was definitely the uncut one for sure.
Yeah,
Because I didn't remember that being in the movie.
Confused.
Just I'm doing you, Hardigan. I'm doing you, but good. Only he comes in.
Well, I know why they cut it though, Travis. The reason they cut this because it just goes on. It's from his point of view in bed for like 8 minutes of all these characters. Like, just tell us the truth. Nancy shows up. Rourke shows up. The police detective shows up. Fucking Bob or the asshole Michael Madsen plays shows up, and it's all from the camera's point of view of Hardigan. It's like, dude, this is going on way too long. I see why they cut this out from the main film.
Yeah, they cut it down to just Rourke and Nancy, which makes sense.
Mike, did you just watch the deleted scenes bonus disc?
Maybe I did. I'm not sure, but
Yeah. Powers Booth. When you need a true asshole, you get Powers Booth on the phone.
Yeah, too
better
bad.
be perfect.
Rest in
I'll
peace.
call him
Rest in peace, man. He was one in a million.
What about second-rate Sam Rockwell?
Yeah. I checked IMDb. I'm like, it's got to be. No, it's not.
It's Freddie. It's Freddie. What's his name? Freddie. What the fuck is his name?
Well, it's not. Yeah, it's not Freddie Rodriguez.
Oh, it's not
No.
Freddie Rodriguez. I totally thought that was Freddie Rodriguez.
No, I know. It's poor man Sam Rockwell.
All right. Well, he does a great job. One of my favorite lines in the movie is, "I can only express puzzlement bordering on alarm." So great.
That's again from the unrated version. That those two guys have so many more lines of those like very complex words, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I see why they cut all this out because it's much better just to hear that. So
Well, yeah, I love Nick Offerman and Discount Sam Rockwell and their eloquence.
Tommy Nix looks like he played Weevil. Was that no? Weevil was a different guy, right?
No, he was Clump and Schlub. I don't know which one he was, Clump or Schlub.
Schlub was Nick Offerman. I got that much.
Okay, well, he was Clump.
I'll look for Clump.
Okay. Eric, let it out.
Yeah, come on,
Rip
Eric.
into it. You're clearly holding back.
I'm not here to bash anything. I just got a lot of questions. Like, for instance, when you confess to sexual assault of a preteen,
You're free.
You get let out of prison?
Yeah.
Again, in Sin City, you do, because the institutions are broken. When he tells the truth and is honest about his innocence, he is punished and he's kept in prison. When he lies and says that he's a child molester because the system is so broken, he is freed. No, this is not reality. This is movie logic.
But it's also because it meant so much to him, because Hartigan, it was a really, like, he thought, at least, he was a really honest cop. So to have this as his reputation is crushing to him, and Rourke knows that.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you have angina and you're shot no less than 80 times,
you can't even lift that cannon.
I mean,
hey, you know what?
What is this?
For the second time this year, a dog fell 15 stories, 150 feet, and survived. You never know what the fuck is going to happen with anything in that kind of realm. But yeah, watching him get shot like through the heart in the opening of the movie from the back by Bum Ticker, it's kind of like, all right, he should be dead now, but whatever.
Also, Marv didn't kill the wolf. He let the wolf eat Elijah Wood's character, too. So I'm
I'm going to use my gun on you, buddy.
It's so brutal. Although that dog absolutely needs to be put down. I'm like, you know what a dog lover I am, but if you have a taste for human flesh, you need to be put down.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. Well, hopefully
He's a man-eater, Bob.
It's not his fault.
Come on, Eric, get pissed. What else are you pissed about? Come on, bring it.
They're not checking the letters that Nancy wrote to him every single week. They need him to, like, they don't understand that they're looking for Nancy this entire time, and like they don't understand that she's going by the same name, living in the same town, that everybody goes to the same bar, and they're confused, and they need him to be let out to point her to where she is. What the fuck is this?
Or how about the fact that, like, when, you know, Dwight holds a blade to Jackie's eyeball and is like, you know, leave my new girlfriend's apartment or whatever, and then he watches him leave. He's like, "Why? When they want to go hurt a woman, I gotta go stop them." It's like, well, why didn't you fucking kill him while you're in the bathroom? There's a bunch of shit like that where it's like, okay, fine, sure, yellow bastard, you're just gonna leave him swinging and walk away. And just assume he dies. Like, okay, sure. There's a lot of that going on.
By the way,
but again,
it's
all.
Second-rate Rockwell is Rick Gomez, the actor Rick Gomez, who's been in Band of Brothers. He's had a very solid career, Justified. Yeah. He's in the new Silo, by the way. So there you go.
Okay. Shout out to Gomez.
Rick Gomez. Way to go, buddy. Sam Rockwell wannabe. Also, this movie's also
you can't
about...
help what he looks like.
You already mentioned this when we talked about the dog eating his master, if you will. That this movie's all about screaming or not, because Nancy, don't scream, because that'll make him come. And then it's also this guy, Elijah Wood's character, he doesn't scream at all. No screaming whatsoever. Not a noise, not a beep.
Another one of those dualities like we were talking earlier. There's just so much of that throughout the film.
Yeah, it's very intentional. Frank Miller, you call this a dumb script? Is that what you're saying? A dumb movie? Or
most of the dialogue is really just goofy. Like I get what it's going for, but this is like an 8th grader trying to like write Raymond Chandler to me. Like there's a lot of lines that are just like dumb.
Yeah,
that's interesting. Okay.
No, he's right. I mean, a lot of it is like tough guy bullshit, kind of cliched dialogue. There's a lot of that going on in here. It works for the film, though, in my opinion.
It's on purpose.
I mean, it's film noir.
Exactly.
You say that, but like when I watch like old film noir like the Maltese Falcon and some The Long Goodbye, like it's really smart voiceover. This is just like my muscles are giving me 1,000 promises. Like it's just not. It just sounds really dumb. Like it sounds like an 8th grader trying to write film noir.
Some of it does, but then there's also characters, men even, if you will, who are doing things that they're taking it. They're like, you know what? I'm going to take this. The typical person can't handle it. Hartigan's like, I'm going to take this rap. It's like the worst thing ever. It's just like, it's hell on earth for him. Marv is taking shit. because
Right.
they're being patient in terms. This movie to me is all about looking at the big picture instead of the micro moment too. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and also this is it's like super stylized, uber exaggerated. This is not a normal noir film. It does, I agree, it has a somewhat juvenile approach in some of it, and some of it feels a little wooden as far as the dialogue is concerned. But I do think that some of it kind of depends on who's delivering it too, because I think Marv's or Mickey Rourke's delivery of a lot of this stuff and Bruce Willis's delivery of a lot of this stuff, they make it work.
Yeah, they're selling
and then
it.
and then you have some people that kind of just aren't, like Josh Hartnett doesn't sell it for me. Alexis Bledel doesn't sell it for me.
Hey, remember Clive Owen?
So we've barely talked about that story so far, which I think says a lot. It's always been my least favorite of the three. But
I wanted to fast forward that whole segment so bad this time. It's just
I wanted to bring up that aspect in that story because Old Town is about these women. They're the powerful women. They run Old Town. So it's supposed to be, okay, we got some feminist action going on here. But at the same time, they're very paranoid that they will have to be resubmitted to the mob and to the way it was to be raped and assaulted and all that crap.
yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of like a mixed message.
Yeah, the women
feminist,
in
but
this
they
movie,
can't do it unless Dwight's there. You got to have that man, or else you can't do it. You can talk about doing it, but you can't do it unless a man's involved.
You're right, and there is kind of like a nod at the beginning that, like, no, we don't need you, but ultimately they kind of do. And you're right about women in this film. I call it hypermasculinity, the movie, but women are not represented well here either. I'd love to read like a gender studies like major's thesis on this movie. I'm sure that they're out there because the women are pretty much all either prostitutes or prostitutes.
Yeah, and there's also, again, watching the extended cut, this whole IRA part of it with that story. Which is good. They got the guy, that guy who's in like all these movies who's got
get
this
that guy.
Yeah, dude with the
that
slash on his
guy.
face from
Angus
Braveheart
Scarface.
Braveheart
his name.
and
I used to know it, but I
from
forgot it.
Smoking Aces. Yeah, that guy. But there's like
Sons of Anarchy.
It gets a lot more of that in this extended part. It's like, good God, I'm so glad they cut all that out. That's why it was so obvious to me. I'm like, this is clearly the extended cut. I don't need to see all this extended IRA bullshit and the tar pits and all this stuff. It's like 10 different characters all of a sudden. I'm like, dude, we're already loaded as it is, man. But in that story, the women, Gail is in love with Dwight still. They're both in love. Like, I love that line. I do. Like, like always in love and never. Yeah, that's cool.
And I think and again, that gets echoed back between Hartigan and Nancy at the end because he's like, I'll always love you, but he means never.
Exactly.
Which I think
he takes his own life. I mean, that he shows. I just think it's love here could have been explored a little bit more, but it's such a grimy story, anyways, that it's kind of there's not enough time for that. Maybe in a movie, if this, I did want to throw the question out to you guys, like, would you love to see a Sin City TV show like with multiple episodes or not?
I mean, there is a sequel that came out 9 years later. I still have not bothered to watch it, so I think that says
you
everything.
didn't see it?
No, I didn't bother. It looked
6 times
stupid,
in the
it was way too
theater.
late.
Didn't see the sequel. That says
saw
it
it.
all, man.
I've actually seen it. That says it all that I'm the one to see it.
Says it all, man. If Dame to Kill For came out in 2007, it would have fucking made so much fucking money.
Took way too long.
They had some returning characters like Bruce, not all of them, but Bruce Willis and Clive Owen.
Jamie
did come
King.
back,
I know Jamie King came back. But
yeah.
I can't remember why they didn't jump right into it because his plan was Rodriguez's plan was to make all of them, especially To Hell and Back, which was my favorite book. He's gonna have Johnny Depp as Wallace, who's gonna be fucking awesome.
We got sidetracked by that grindhouse bullshit. I don't know.
It could have been something to do with funding at the studio level. Who knows? But they might as well just not have bothered with the second one. Although I say that as someone who didn't watch it, but it got bad reviews, and that's partly why I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it was trash. It was total trash. It was too late. It's like fucking Dial of Destiny's way too late. Go away. But I actually do want to ask that question about Clive Owen. I mean, Clive Owen is awesome. I love Clive Owen as an actor, and I know that he did the show you liked on Cinemax, The Nick, right, Travis?
Yeah.
Somewhat
Very
more
good.
recently, but it's been
Nick.
Well, that was like 10 years ago.
right. Exactly. It's almost 10 years ago now. So I wonder what happened to Clive Owen. I miss him. I loved him. Children of Men, Closer, this movie. These 3 movies right here in 0405, those are 3 excellent films, and he's really a key part of all 3 of them.
Then he did Shoot 'Em Up, and I feel like, right? Fucking Carrot and all that.
I forgot about that movie.
I think he started making some not so great choices and kind of squandered his cache of Hollywood, power.
Paul Giamatti and Clive Owen in Shoot 'Em Up. I mean, Clive Owen, yes, but Paul Giamatti? Come
So
on.
terrible.
Well, I'm so glad he brought that up. That's a good call.
I'm not. Movie shit.
It is.
Big Fat Kill is definitely my least favorite. I think a lot of it, as I sat down with pen and paper, is because all three of these characters, Marv, Hartigan, Dwight, they're just too similar. It's like they seem to have the same problem. They have these physiological conditions. Like they're obsessed with this woman and they're hard boiled. So like I was just getting bored. It just seemed like more of the same.
And that's partly why I think a sequel wasn't really necessary. I think this was a lot of fun, but you're right. I mean, watching this movie, you're watching essentially, I mean, they're not just three similar characters. The two of them are even like are on revenge kicks, sort of. And like, there is a lot of similarities between these characters. Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's loaded, too. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Michael Clark Duncan's in this. There's so many people in this movie. Brittany Murphy, we haven't mentioned, who would eventually pass away.
Rutger Hauer, man. Come on.
That was the one that I didn't remember. I was like, oh shit, Rutger Hauer was in this? That was the one that blew me away so much that I did not recall. I will admit that.
I joined in. Still effective.
Fucking
I love that.
Crazy,
Awesome.
man.
And he's like, he kisses the fucking head that gets
Kisses the
squished
head.
onto the Bible.
Squish it right on the Bible pages.
Yeah, it's hardcore.
Yeah, I mean, going back, like I have a very vivid memory of being in the Imagine Theater in Novi, Michigan, and to be honest with you, I got that weird feeling. You know, when the crowd's pumped and they shuffle in and everyone's throwing popcorn, they're excited. People were squirming until that zoom in on Marv's shadow. And the Hard Goodbye story started with Marv. Everybody kind of picked themselves up and slapped themselves and woke up. That's where it is, man. I mean, that's like a 35, 40-minute chunk which is just exquisite from start to finish. I got issues with everything else, but I mean, that's just so good.
Yeah, it's the highlight of the film. I agree.
Yeah.
Are we done?
Oh,
Son.
what is this? Okay. Sorry, Michael. Rourke Jr., the yellow bastard, Nick Stahl. I mean, he's the biological kid of Rourke, the senator. Why can't Senator Rourke just have another kid? If he's so worried about his bloodline?
I guess because he's ancient, he's probably impotent.
Oh,
that's a great point. That's a good point,
He's fucking
Eric.
85
Yeah.
years old.
You're right.
But
Plot point
that-
exposed.
Come on now.
Fine.
Come on now.
That gets again at like there's so much about like men having sex, but it's like unspoken a lot of times. For even though it's like lacquered on heavily in other places. Like I didn't realize until this viewing that Marv was a virgin until Goldie.
I know. I didn't know
he
that
literally
either.
says it. I mean, I figured that he was like, that he wasn't used to a lot of women, but he essentially says that she took his virginity at like 50 years old or whatever.
No one's ever touched
It's
me.
so
Like,
strange
yeah.
that you say that. If you read the books, Dwight is abstinent. Like he doesn't have sex because he thinks it'll bring him down and fuck up his virility or his futility, whatever that word is I'm looking for.
Does he have red cons in the book too?
I just don't see Clive Owen wearing red cons. I'm sorry.
I don't see
What?
anyone
With
wearing
that haircut,
red
he
cons who's
does.
I don't see anyone wearing red cons who isn't red shoes. That kid we went to high school with.
That's exactly where I was going. Yep, I was just going to say red shoes
I got
is
a
the
note.
standard
I
bearer.
apologize for red shoes, and I work with them at Target, but that's
Great.
It's a tangent.
Good. I hope you apologize
I
on behalf of all
felt
of
really
us.
bad. I don't know if you remember me. I felt
Steve,
really bad.
yes, it was him and a
made it
brother.
right.
Yellow shoes and red shoes.
I made it right.
That's right. I forgot about yellow shoes.
Yeah,
Good. I'm glad you made it right. Shout out to Red Shoes. You have a real name. You're a real man,
Yeah.
real person. We value you.
not like they give a fuck
didn't
about
accept the
us. They
apology.
wouldn't live their
He
own
was scared.
lives. Oh, he did, huh?
No,
okay,
he
wow.
darted away.
He darted away. Okay,
Really?
Yeah, felt bad
All right.
again.
Yeah, I guess we had it coming.
good. He gave it to you. Fuck off. By the way, I'd mentioned Carla Gugino, who is just a goddess, but Also,
Unreal.
Rosario Dawson in that outfit. I mean, yeah, these are male fantasies or female whoever. If you are attracted to these people, you love it. I mean, yeah, they're fucking hot, and it's well done. But it's not like it's not too over the top. It's like just right too in a way. It's like nice, that's classy, sexy. Not too. There's perverse themes in this film, but not with those two characters in particular.
There's nothing wrong with women flaunting what they have whatsoever.
Fuck no.
In fact, you watch I teased this bonus feature story. Get that 2-disc DVD if you like this film, because they show the entire film in its entirety with no effects, just the green screen in Rodriguez's studio. So you get crystal clear HD images of every scene, and you know where I'm going with this.
Okay.
There it is.
Dwight,
MrSkin.com.
You damn fool.
Love
Is that the worst?
Love
I
Brittany
think that's
Murphy.
I think that's the worst delivery in the movie, other than Michael Madsen's.
It's so bad that it's good.
All right, well.
Oh, trite.
By the way, we didn't mention any musical references. Any musical references for this film at all?
Not really.
Or just like
dumb
whatever.
song at the strip club, like the Jessica Alba dances to.
Yep.
To go back to the whole thing about like how this movie, so much of it is like men protecting women. I also find it really interesting that so you have Hardigan and his like questionable kind of thing going on with Nancy. I'm not sure what's going on with Dwight so much because he seems a little bit more on the up and up. But I guess he's abstinent. And then you have Marv, who's like going on about how he can't hit a woman. Like I'd never hit a woman. Like I don't like guys who rough up women. Right. He's talking next to the woman that he just knocked unconscious with his fist when he says that.
That's
which
correct.
I think is worth pointing out. There's like this disconnect that's happening with a lot of his actions, and sometimes he's aware of it. Like he's like, oh shit, am I a psycho killer? I don't know. Better plow ahead.
Maybe they watched that clip of Sean Connery speaking to who was it, Connie Chung, where he talks about it being absolutely necessary to slap a woman in the right circumstances.
I mean, Frank Miller might feel that way, but I don't think that Marv is supposed to. But then he does.
Well, again, see, this shit makes more sense with this extended version. There's a whole scene with Marv and his mom. Is that in the main one?
No, dude.
Right?
Mike,
No, it's
you
not.
dreamed all of this.
I'm
convinced
telling
this
you
is
because
all a dream.
It's the genesis where he talks about being confused, right? Marv says, "I get confused." Mm-hmm. Yeah,
He
that's
does
where it
talk
starts.
about his mom being threatened by Rourke and them too. So it would have
Exactly.
made sense to have her in the movie.
Yeah, I'm glad it got cut again, but he goes to see big giant Marv goes to see this super old woman. That's his mom, and she's like, "Oh, Marv, are you confused again? Are you getting confused?" It alludes to all this shit that's going on with them, which
she
you
a
don't
prostitute?
get from the main. No, she's just some old. I know it is shocking. Yeah, it makes you wonder where.
Talk about Old Town.
Yeah, I don't know where things disconnected there, but. Wah, wah.
Well, where do we go from here?
Well, Travis, tell it like it is, brother. Unless you got anything else.
No, I think I've pretty much said everything I wanted to say about it. I've always loved the delivery. Just one last thing, when Marv is talking to Lucille, Carla Gugino in her bathroom, he's like, "The old days, the bad days, the all or nothing days, they're back." That scene is like, or that delivery is one of my favorite parts in the movie. And Bruce Willis like lying on the street, like towards the beginning, like trying to like get his ticker under control, and he like pounds the pavement literally with his fist and rises up with that gun in his hand. That is awesome. That was great in theaters. So, and that kind of gets at why I have a very forgiving attitude towards this movie. I recognize a lot of your complaints, Eric, and share some of them. I fully expected to go in watching this movie and come out saying that it did not hold up, but I don't feel that way. I feel like it does hold up. It is flawed. It is not needing sequels. It's got its moments that are problematic at best, but man, it is so slick. It is so cool. It is so violent in the ways that I like. It is just fraught with so many characters that are interesting and well acted by really established and solid actors. It definitely holds up for me. It's a lot of fun, and I'm glad I revisited it.
Oh, man, Travis. You did it again, man. You got me thinking, because I got notes all over the place.
Stick to your guns, Eric.
Nitpicking this. But I'm gonna stay true to my heart. I mean, like, in a lot of ways, yeah, this is like it's quick, operatic, and cool, but it's also, like, goofy and dumb. Like, I mean, we're homaging film noir here, and all the great film noirs are so complex. You don't even know what the fuck is going on half the time, and you got to watch them and rewatch them for narrative reasons. Everything in this is just so obvious and cliche. Clergy's bad. Police are corrupt. It gets very sophomoric for me in terms of the screenwriting. So I am nitpicking it here as a 42-year-old man. I was kind of bored, man, and it sucks because I love that Marv stuff. And the performances are fun, but I was like, this is kind of stupid. I don't know, man. It's got its moments, but it didn't hold up this time. Sorry to say.
There it is. All right. Finally. Oh, last time someone said a movie didn't hold up, I feel like it's been a while.
Yeah, me too.
Glad you stuck to your guns, Eric. For me, I watched the film. It was entertaining, and I was sucked in. So that was it. So that's all you really need. It holds up for me because it was entertaining enough, and I actually thought that there were some really great performances. And the cast, outside of the Jessica Alba thing, it's all awesome, really. So I'm not going to let that. Oh yeah, right. Those two, you take those two things out, and I'm pretty happy. I see it differently than you do, Eric. As you know, they're trying to they are cliches, because these are cliches. It's like a way that it's recognized by the writer or the creators. You know?
Can I jump in real quick? I'm sorry, but I mean, with Frank Miller directing this, everything is so overblown and overexposed that you don't even see the lines in people's faces and stuff. It's just white and black because it's all simplified and put into this sharp contrast, and that's why it's so basic, I think, to me, because that's what he's going for.
One of the coolest. Hate to stomp on your final thoughts.
I already said it held up, guys. It's fine.
Okay.
One thing that I was like, damn, that is really cool, was when Marv's looking out the window after Goldie's been killed, and now it's all black and white, but the blue and red from the cops, only that kind of puts color on his face. Really cool.
Yeah.
Certainly also, if your partner shoots you in the back 8 times, is it water under the bridge when you see him next time?
Yeah, do you let him give you a lift somewhere? Do you trust him?
Yeah, especially if you don't have a car. It's basic. It's got to survive. Hard to get to survive it.
You got a bum ticker. You need a ride.
Got a bumticker.com. All right, thanks for joining us. That's Cinema 9 for this week. We did Sin City. Check it out, cinema9pod@gmail.com. Email us. Do you have thoughts on Sin City? We'd love to hear them. I mean, we always love to hear outsiders' opinions of whether it held up or not. We'd like to get disagreements, too. We're not about, just groupthink here. You guys better say what we say. No, that's not what we do here. It's about open conversation. So, Eric, you're not going to be here next week, so I guess we're kind of we're not sure what we're going to do at this moment, so we'll just
There is a possibility.
There's a possibility.
Should we not say it?
We could say it. There's a possibility. Go ahead.
There's a possibility that has been hinted before on this show, dangled like sausage from a piece of string in a living room. We may do Freddy Got Fingered. It's a possibility.
But it wouldn't include Eric.
Right.
Which would be sad.
It'd make him happy,
I want to force him to watch the movie. I want to force him to watch that movie. But
I'm curious. Please do it.
Yeah, so we don't know. We might be able to get our friend Dave to come aboard because he wants to do that movie, but we're going to talk about it first. So that's why it's incomplete at this time. But stay tuned on our socials. We could tell you. There's other ways to contact us, right? Yeah, we'll tell you something. Tell him something good. That song is terrible.
It's really bad.
Thanks. Yeah, it's really bad. This is as bad as Sin City. You guys be the judge. Travis, Eric, Mike. Bye-bye.